If you didn't finish or never played Death Stranding, should you consider playing Death Stranding 2? I probably played about half of Death Stranding, enjoyed my time, but for whatever reason stopped playing and never returned. With the launch of Death Stranding 2 upon us, the answer I wanted to find was if Death Stranding 2 was good for beginners. Is it good for people that never played the original or possibly like me, never finished the game? After spending a handful of hours with Death Stranding 2, doing a lot of walking, making a lot of deliveries, getting into combat, sneaking past guards in bushes, and many other things, I think I have a good answer. To begin with, at the start screen, you have the option to get a recap from 17 different slides that are narrated and try to fill you in as best as they can on what happened in Death Stranding. It's still a lot of information to take in, but it's relatively succinct and it's digestible. There is also multiple levels of difficulty to choose from, with the default being standard. Below that is a beginner difficulty with combat and gameplay being tuned down, and then there's also a story mode even farther down, which is for people who just want to enjoy the story. There's also the option to play online or offline, and I chose offline because I wanted to experience the world and figure out my own way of navigating. However, this might be counterintuitive to the reconnecting theme of Death Stranding. Finally, once in the game, there is something called a corpus, which is basically your glossary that gets filled up every time you learn something new, from what something does in the world to who someone is and everything in between. It's very handy, as Death Stranding 2 is constantly throwing new terms and new information at you. A lot of times it is also just a different term for something that you already understand, such as calling a glossary a corpus. After a handful of hours with Death Stranding 2, it feels much more of a game than the first one did. There's also a very good balance of gameplay, story, and cutscenes so far. I'm having a great time, and I personally find myself to be enjoying it the most when I'm taking it slow and typically only doing one delivery at a time. The game feels more digestible in small chunks as you want to take your time with the deliveries, the scenarios, and then you have the time to digest the narrative instead of rushing through everything. Death Stranding 2 is a game with a very high bar to entry, as it asks a lot of the player in terms of mechanics and plot. But I feel confident in saying that if you want to play the sequel, and you never played the first or you never finished it, it does welcome you in, no matter your experience of the series or skill level. If this video helped you in any way, like or subscribe. Video games is a positivity-first gaming outlet. We believe that gaming should be a force for good. We focus on making uplifting content with constructive discussions and celebrating what makes games great. Also, let me know in the comments below what your experience is with the Death Stranding series. That's all for today, but until next time, be good to your fellow gamer, but more importantly, be better to your fellow human.